Hey, welcome in. It's
Hey.
Tuesday, May 31st, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
Join with some of my best friends in the business, Corey Spala, Nate Povo. We got Herms in the building. And, of course, my very good friend, Jeff Bell. What's going on, fellas? How are we doing tonight?
Happy birthday, Chef.
I was going to say, we
Happy
got to
birthday,
stop
buddy.
and say happy birthday to Chef, so we got to start it off right.
Happy birthday, Chef.
Thank you.
share
Should we sing? I feel like we should
No.
sing.
No, please
No,
You're going to lose all the
you see
viewers
waiters
immediately by
coming,
singing.
You know, at the when you're young at the what is it called, restaurant? And they're about to sing happy birthday.
So it's one of those things where like they all start happy birthday and like it's
happy birthday.
like the clapping and the stomping is like way worse than the actual singing, because as soon
true.
as that happens, everyone in the restaurant's just like, oh well, look at this guy, and it's this, I get that. I do.
Well, the even worse part is being called out in front of the entire restaurant, and everyone's looking at you like, that asshole made me listen to this clapping and singing. This is his fault. Like, I didn't mean to. I just wanted a free dessert. I just wanted a free dessert.
It doesn't bother me.
Well, happy birthday. And Chef shares a
I
birthday
don't
with
understand
Brees
that, though, because all the... Oh, really? Cool.
He's 21.
Probably like...
So
Oh.
sell him while you can, everyone.
He is now on the downward age cliff, so
Yeah,
there
he's
you go.
21.
He's young enough to be my son. Jeez.
He's almost going to take an NFL snap, too. It's almost like a car. Like I feel like running backs are like new cars. It's like the moment you take them in the rookie draft, you leave the rookie draft and the value is just
It's a deep
used. That guy's used now. I don't want anything to do with
That's
him.
a good comp right there.
But so shouldn't a classic like Frank Gore cost more?
I don't know, Nate.
No,
either.
Frank Gore,
Probably not.
Raheem Mostert, those are like the birthday cakes that you get at the restaurant that are in the freezer since 1995, and they pull it out and say "Happy Birthday." Like,
Oh, crap.
Is that
So
an
most-
experience that you've had? That is a very vivid experience. Like I've
Yeah,
never
right.
had a
at
1995
McDonald's, and they were all frozen birthday cakes. Like,
Did you guys have
I mean,
McDonald's
mainly
parties
ice
growing up?
cream. Yeah, a couple.
Yeah,
I never had one. I went to one. They were
you
fun.
went to one. I had a McDonald's party in kindergarten. What's up? Corey?
Nice.
Would you guys put Frank Gore in the top 10 all-time running backs?
No.
For what?
He was in not talent wise. He's an
Gracias,
accumulator.
Castellanos, eh?
So, this place has the Sportster.com has him 8th overall. At what point does it matter if you're just healthy versus skill?
I
don't really
think they
come
keep
out
him
on
there
websites I've
because of
never
the
heard of,
rushing
so.
yards. Like,
But
if
he was
you're
just
in there
healthy,
for enough,
you know?
Nah, I
Right.
think it's
So
like,
LaDainian's 6 and Frank
The
Gore.
fifth on this one.
there's no way. There's no way.
I guess longevity
was
has something to do with it, right?
He was healthy, you know. and
He's an accumulator,
He
but I
put,
think
yeah.
he can get to 10 pretty easily without including him.
Oh, very easily.
I mean, you know, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
16
9.
years.
And 9 of them had 1,000 yards.
That
Only
list
had
like
10
didn't.
touchdowns once.
Do you think there's any good running backs before 1985? Because that kind of seemed like that list did not include any running backs prior to like Walter Payton. So
Franco Harris, John Riggins.
Barry
This
Sanders.
is from 2022 as well. Just saying. Right here.
Marshall Falk was
Not
really
a
good
fan
too.
of that list.
Yeah, no, I disagree with like pretty.
you think
wholly.
Le'Veon Bell was better than Frank Gore?
Yes, from a talent
Talented?
perspective, yes.
Right? Talent wise?
Yep.
Nice.
Had a higher peak.
Who else? Who else would be? Who wasn't on that list that you would add in?
Najee Harris.
Oh my god.
Okay. Did
Quad.
you see
Jerome-
those quads? Did you see the quads? All right. I'm just saying.
I'd put Jerome Bettis in there over Frank Gore.
Hey.
Even Mike
What about
Allstott.
Eddie George?
No. Thurman
Yeah, where
Thomas.
is
What
Martin?
about Eddie George?
Eddie George is very good.
Curtis Martin?
George could be.
Oh,
Derrick
Curtis
Henry.
Martin's on there.
Terrell
Derrick
Davis.
Henry's better than Frank Gore. No,
I think
Yeah.
Tiki Barber
Yeah.
was better than Frank Gore.
I feel bad besmirching Frank Gore's name, but I appreciate him, and what he was able to accumulate was fantastic.
Right.
There it is. There it is. Oh,
But like you said, what he was able to accumulate over 35 years in the league.
look at that man. Go.
Najee.
Look at that man go.
He's wearing them short shorts.
He's up 244. He's from 240 last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that he's bigger than Jerome Bettis was.
The initial news was 232 to 244, and then he tweeted out, "Yeah, I was 240 last year. Don't believe Twitter."
Yeah, he's really going to that first guy that gets to him 5 yards deep. He's really going to have a problem with him. It's going to be those other guys though that are like at the line of scrimmage waiting for him with that offensive line. That'll be interesting to see.
Here we go. So
I'm not sold on the offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Neither am I. It's fine.
here's our first shot at Najee Harris. One of the fantasy docs said that the concern with CMC when he bulked up was he may have sacrificed mobility, leading to his injury. Maybe we see an injury for Najee.
Now, I am not a licensed doctor by any means, but I don't think the poundage situation that McCaffrey put on had anything to do with his mobility as much as it did as his supporting cast in that offensive line in Carolina. So if you wanted to make a correlation between those two, then you would use the offensive line in Pittsburgh as saying, yeah, well, it doesn't matter how much your running back weighs. If your offensive line can't block for him, he's screwed.
Wow.
Or if you overuse him. I mean, they just ran
Correct.
McCaffrey into the ground for 3 straight seasons. And what did they do to Najee Harris last season? Dude, I mean, pretty much I'd have to look it up, but I feel like if you looked at him and McCaffrey's stats rookie seasons, you're going to see something very similar as far as workload.
So here's
100%. Eventually, Christian's going to be McCaffless.
It's hard to. I feel like it's hard to value Najee Harris in redraft though, because there's no concern at all in Pittsburgh about a committee situation, and I think that's one of the very few teams that you can say that about. They're at the very top. There's nobody that's splitting carries with Najee Harris, so you'd think the potential is there to be even running back 1 overall. But again, it's those questions about the offense, the offensive line. So you guys are right track.
Here he is, July 2021, and here he is just last week. Hold on. Computer's going a little slow. Fill this out of time. Here he is last week. Boom. Look at that.
Yeah, like if
Big
anything,
boy.
what he did was, and also like just like we have already said, like 4 pounds, that's really all it is at the end of the day. But just like the way he was able to just redistribute his mass to be able to hold up better, because there were times toward the end of last season where there was just that look on his face when they would pan to him on the sidelines. He's just like, oh my god, and it's like, yeah, man, he it seems he's taking care of a lot in order to be able to build himself to sustain the workload. Because like now that he's been No, I disagree with that. But now that he's been in the NFL, he's seen and he's like, okay, I got to figure out how I'm really going to last throughout this season, especially with, these bunch of clowns, blocking for me in front of me, like this is a good thing. I'm very, very enthusiastic about this. I'm all for any sort of running back quad hype stuff, but especially when it's my favorite running back on my favorite team.
I'm with you there, Herms. Everybody loved the hype train on, say, Quad, Barkley, and it kind of fizzled out. Should we be worried about Najee Harris's dynasty shelf life? If that's the case, if his workload doesn't get reduced, if his offensive line doesn't get beefed up, are we looking at like a 3-year, 4-year and done kind of scenario for Najee Harris? I mean, I hate to be the pessimist in the room, but I mean, that's what comes to mind if he's going to get this usage. And then shout out Brad Bolt. Thank you for the happy birthday. But he goes, Najee had more miles on him than CMC in his rookie year. If we could put that up there real fast. Yeah. CMC had 117 carries in his rookie year. But you got to remember, in his rookie year, CMC did not have a full workload. He shared in the backfield. Najee came out the gate with the full workload, and it's assumed that he's going to have it until he can't do it anymore.
But McCaffrey also had 80 receptions his rookie year, too.
Yeah. Well, Najee had 94 targets last year, led the league in targets from the running back position. So, he's 400 touches last year. And usually that's kind of the flag is around 400 touches is kind of the magic number that you don't want to see. He's young enough. It's once I mean, he's got so many years left on his rookie contract. It's really once guys approach that second contract that I get very nervous in Dynasty. And really the way I want to use those backs on the second contract is I'll acquire them in October, but then I'm either selling them in the moment the season ends, because I think that's the time to sell veteran running backs to a team that may be lost in the playoffs and is looking for a little bit more of that push. Or this time, or once we get to August and you're really starting to talk redraft, where people are worried about that running back spot that they have in their lineup that doesn't have a sure starter, and they're used to taking these guys top 5 overall in drafts and redrafts that they do. I think those are the 2 times to sell. But again, I'll buy in October, but I'm going to flip that guy immediately because I'm just not going to hold it if the bottom falls out.
Yeah, I have a roster. Corey, I believe, is in the league with me. That I have James Conner.
Goats?
Who else? James Conner.
Goats?
Yeah, goats and hose.
Whoa.
Go the hose, like the yard tool. Sorry. James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Mike Davis. The wheels fell off of Mike Davis finally. I have Zeke in that league. It's pretty much a bunch of veteran running backs. You want to pull up the roster? Go ahead.
Who just won that league?
Taylor, I believe.
No, it was me.
Oh, it was you.
Come on, Chef.
Taylor beat me in the semis.
Yeah, you have Henry, Montgomery.
I have Henry Montgomery. No, I don't. That's not my league. That's
Shut
not my roster.
Goats. Oh, Swift and Elliott. Yeah, I don't know who had that.
AJ Dillon, Connor, and Fournette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like he said.
Yeah. I mean, I have a little bit of youth in there with Swift and Dillon, but no, not Swift. I don't even know anymore. That's problem right there.
Happens.
I have too many rosters.
You got Thielen, dude.
Yeah, the roster's old.
Gronk. Sheesh.
I'm holding on to
Weren't you the
Gronk
best
until
team
training.
last year too?
I was the best team. I went 14-2 or 15-2, something like that.
Let's look at 2021. As we fill this idle
You're
time
the
here.
champion.
I was the champion. Yeah, you went 12-2. I was 11-3.
And that's some shit.
Yeah.
Not bad.
What can I say? I'm a champion, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, the older guys, the wheels fell off. Zeke fell off towards the end of the season. Fournette fell off. Connor fell off a little bit. And I got screwed. And I'm just going to slowly rebuild. You know, this year I attacked some wide receiver in the draft.
Mechie?
I think I have Mechie, and I think I have Sky Moore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how you do it, you know? If you're talking about shelf life with running backs, you have these immediate Fournette, Zeke, and Connor. You might as well stack the young guys because you could always recycle rookie running backs, maybe like a Brian Robinson this year, you know?
I have a feeling that AJ Dillon's value is going to skyrocket this season, and I'll be able to flip him for something very, very nice next year.
Stands to reason.
We're kind of, though, I don't know. Do you really think that AJ Dillon's going to be like a top 3 or 4 round like dynasty back after this year? Because he's already kind of in that
he's close to it now, right?
7th round. Yeah, he's like already right there almost. And it's almost, you in order to acquire him, you're paying the price that he's already hit, more or less. And so I don't know if that's a guy that he would have to smash. Like it would have to be like a 1,500-yard year, I think, to really jack him up there. Because if he splits carries with Aaron Jones that has even 1,000-yard year, he's kind of just returning value on his current value versus ascending and creating more value.
I agree with that. Let's pull up his stats real fast.
Yeah, I'll bring up his ADP.
Pick on AJ Dillon real fast. No matter
what happens with Jones, they could cut him and save some good money. Maybe Rodgers is like, sorry, Christian Watson, I don't want him. Let's keep Jones. But
I mean, he had 800 yards last year, 5 touchdowns. I can see that going up, matching his ADP, which makes a lot of sense. However, they said that
quarterback,
you know, with Aaron Jones, I'm sorry, back it up. With Devontae Adams leaving, that leaves Aaron Jones as more of a receiving target than anything else, which leads me to believe that Algiers Jamal Dillon, Quadfather, Quadzilla, will be getting more touches in the backfield. You know, he only had 187 attempts. I can see that going over 200 this year.
Sure.
He played all 17 games. So yeah, I think he's in for a good season. And yeah, I think he gets cemented more as a valuable running back too.
Like Damian Harris,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Ramondre
I think
Stevenson.
maybe
with more upside
what
though.
Damian Harris did.
Yeah. Didn't he have 16 touchdowns last year, Harris, Damian?
Yes, he had
Still
They
was
were
like
very
what,
spotty.
Quite a few, yeah.
But only finished like RB15 because he's just not passing involvement, which
But
what is it?
he's kind of like Burrow, though, where Damian Harris won you leagues last year. If you had Damian Harris on your team, he closed the season out so strong that I think he was a top 5 running back down the stretch. And that's the biggest, sometimes that's the biggest thing. And like Joe Burrow last year, Joe Burrow was barely a quarterback 1. But if you had Joe Burrow on your team and you made the playoffs, you probably won your league because he was quarterback 1 through the playoffs.
Which it matters. Yeah, all that matters is when the players get hot. Like you could have such stacked teams, but you just never know what happens. That's why just getting to the playoffs is the most important thing. It shouldn't be to win. You got to get there first. I guess you want to win, obviously, but
Yeah, and I
Definitely want to win.
you get what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
People get lost in that. Well, he's only a RB2, but it's not really about that. It's can they have windows like that? Can they have a 4-game stretch that they go out? Damon Harris drops 120 yards for 4 games in a row and a couple touchdowns, and he wins you your league. And that's really what you're trying to load as much in your roster as possible. I think you worry less about, well, this guy's not an RB1, he's only an RB2. You have to look at those range of outcomes and realize what the ceiling might be, and you layer those through your roster. And then you make the playoffs. Like you said, that's the most important thing, getting in, but having those guys with that ceiling that can hit, that can deliver that. And that's where especially wide receivers, because you see a lot of talk about, well, this guy's very consistent. He'll get you a consistent 13 PPR points. And that's great and all, but give me those wide receivers that can drop 35 when I'm going for the championship. That's what I really want.
Yeah, because then you pick up Jamar Chase and boom, shakalaka.
Whatever. Hey guys, I have an idea.
Oh,
What's that?
I like
You're
those
just gonna
sometimes.
concede.
Draft simulator.
Oh.
Draft simulator.
All of us draft one team right now.
Sure.
Is that
Like
what-
not like all 5 of us one team, not 5 separate.
So we all just argue about who we should take out each pick.
I demand that we select Ronald Jones. That is my only thing.
Exactly. Because
Absolutely not.
Herm,
Of course.
you've been sharing some of these, haven't you?
So, oh yeah, dude, the Draft Wizard. Hey, check it out on the website. There you go. Boom.
We gonna do Dynasty?
Redraft probably.
Are we in redraft season? SCN?
Not quite yet. I think
Yes,
it's still start
dang
of
it.
season.
I just dropped my redraft ranks. I'm working on player comments right now, and I
So,
am going.
We're already
way
arguing.
to comment on 300 players. I'll say that right now.
So probably redraft. Is that cool?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's the best format there is. I love redraft.
Debatable.
2
I put
kickers.
1, 2,
Auction.
2, 1, 1 flex, 1 super flex, or 2 flex.
Beautiful.
Yeah, whatever you want. It's
Sure.
cool.
I'm gonna randomize. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
8th.
All right. Yeah, that's a good spot. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
Be interesting.
Right here, toughest decision starting the worst player over a star player because they're hot and the other isn't. That is pretty difficult, especially
Yep.
when people say start your studs, but
That's why I only draft attractive players.
Yeah, I think one thing that's helped me with that is playing DFS. And I think in DFS, it changes your mindset and allows you to look at those weeks. And like, you can feel a lot better if you know in DFS, this guy is a play over that guy versus like just putting it into your lineup that week.
absolutely. Guys, I took away the super flex.
Okay.
Fine.
One
Yeah.
QB. There we go.
Your typical redraft, 1 quarterback league here.
Taking it back to the
we're-
roots, baby.
We are at pick 8. Jonathan Taylor, CMC, Austin Eckler, Najee Harris. So it's pretty much running backs.
And Cooper
Go.
Cup.
So here we are, gentlemen. What's our theory here? We going 0 running back,
Smash
0
Justin Jefferson here.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I think Justin Jefferson's the pick.
What 71% of experts say Dalvin Cook.
I mean,
Yeah,
single
but-
QB.
Single QB, 2-2-1.
I
and then
think
2
we
flex.
push the running backs down a little bit. I
There
agree.
are- yeah, there
A
will be
wide
running backs
receiver,
on the
either
list. Yeah.
Justin
Justin
Jefferson
Jefferson.
or Jamar Chase is fine by me.
Yeah, and it really goes to building value in your roster because I think that I have 3 wide receivers, Cup, Jefferson, and Chase in a tier by themselves. And I think that when you take one of those guys later in your draft, you build that value in your roster compared to having the 8th best running back on your team. You're already starting from behind.
Justin Jefferson. I hope that's who we wanted.
Yeah,
It is who we wanted.
it's a good pick.
Is this linear or
Jamar Chase, let's go,
Dude,
Jamar
you have to
Chase,
do
load
it.
up.
Ooh.
We're good at this, guys.
back it up, baby? Go
No,
with
this
Jamar.
is Snake.
Yeah, I would love that start. If you're drafting towards the back half of the first round, that is a great start.
How do we see our team? Right here. Oh my
I'm
god.
stating for the record, I probably would not have done that personally, but that is just me.
That's because Najee was on the board at the beginning.
Well, we can
But
turn
I
around and
know.
take Saquon Barkley now, I think.
Yeah, dude. Are you
I'm
Yeah.
okay with Saquon.
In the third
Okay,
round,
wait.
you get a shot at
Oh, wait.
legitimate
Sorry,
RB1.
guys. We have to take Deontay.
Why?
See, now we're talking. See, there you
No,
go.
no, we take Chef is a Giants fan. I mean,
No, I vote Saquon for sure, especially after we just hit Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase.
We
Yeah.
talked a lot about guys with really nice quads too, so I mean, it would be kind of
Yeah,
disrespectful to-
That's true.
you know, it's nice quads. Literally every single NFL running back.
True. Yo, hey. Also, look, I'm gonna be real about this. For as much as people are concerned about the whole Ezekiel Elliott thing, bro, like those touchdowns, they are there, baby. Like, you know, I'm just saying, man, he's gonna score a hell of a lot.
Ha.
Ooh,
Are we thinking Brees Hall?
Yeah, I would
the
take
Brees.
Brees Hall here. I am
really?
working on Football Guys Spotlight for Brees. I have Brees Hall pretty high in my rankings. I have him 24 overall in my rankings, right at the end of the second round.
Wow.
He's a smash at this point.
That's not that
Okay.
crazy, though. I've seen Brees Hall
Dude,
ranked pretty
guys.
high.
I think it's one of those that he's going to heat up during the summer. And as soon as we get some of those highlights from training camp, I think he's going to, people start to recognize that he's probably going to be the clear lead back. I think that's going to spike his value there.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, now.
Okay, when do you guys feel comfortable taking a quarterback in a single quarterback redraft league? Like,
Well, it
is
depends what's on the board,
we
what our
smashing
competitors
Lamar?
have already had taken. Like,
I'm eyeing Lamar pretty hard here.
Yeah,
I
I'm-
mean,
I-
I think
I
we
kinda
could
think
wait
it's-
around. I think
I
we
mean,
could
we
wait
got
around and
good-
get Burrow on the
like,
way
what about
back.
the rushing upside.
At the earliest so far, I've been waiting till around the 7th round. I mean, that's about
I think we
where
go with
I
another
like that
top tier
too.
wide receiver if we can.
Another
Or do we
top-
take Waller and
like
play
Sutton,
having
Judy,
elite tight
Mooney?
ends?
Like these are top tier receivers?
I'm taking
I almost
Sutton over
go
Judy.
with-
Over
I almost
Judy.
think I'd take Waller over Sutton in a vacuum. Like I would take that tight end position and have a shot at
Sure.
a guy that could give me the
Yeah, that's
advantage
fair.
there weekly.
I
And
agree with that.
if you click back to rankings away from our roster, it'll show the complete list of guys that are there,
Oh, thank you.
just for reference. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could always grab a receiver later. Sure, we could
Mhm.
get a quarterback like Russell. There's a lot of tight ends, but
Yeah,
Honestly,
I'm
in
not worried
about
the quarterback
2 rounds,
situation
Rashad
yet.
Bateman's still going to be on the board. By the way, so
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
so
I like
Travis
that.
Etienne is what we're saying. It is a PPR league.
No, we're not saying ETN. I thought we were saying Waller. But
We are
Yeah,
saying Waller.
I'm okay with Waller. Yeah.
Corey doesn't love Waller this year. Corey's kind of
I'm not super high on him, but I think there's a good chance he pops. I mean,
Is Burrow still there?
well. I think is
Yeah, Burrow's
Dobbins and
still
ETN still there?
Kyler's still there.
Dobbins,
too.
Etienne.
Dobbins and Ed.
I would-
See,
I'd
I'm eyeing
rather go
Dobbins there.
ETN.
Here.
I may lean Travis simply because it's a PPR league. No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
how we feeling?
And
about
he's
that?
not. You know, we've seen him on the practice field. Have we seen Dobbins on the practice field yet from that injury last
No.
year?
Not
No,
sure.
yeah.
I'm aware of no.
Not like it's really relevant anyway because Lamar Jackson's not out there with them. So
Right.
But I think we're playing one of those games on the recovery time. I think with both Ravens running backs, and I hear a lot with
think-
like Gus Edwards, but Dobbins has to be a little bit of concern there. I would take ETN personally.
I think Dobbins is coming back faster than Edwards is. That's the last I heard about it. And I have faith that Dobbins is going to be okay, but I don't think he's got the ceiling as much as Travis Etienne does with the passing game.
Both his and Travis's injury doesn't worry anyone either. What was it? The
Not for
Lynch-
redraft, no.
Not what we've seen already.
But he got so hurt early last summer that even though, like, normally with the Liz Frank stuff, like people would be like the timeline of when he initially got hurt was so beneficial for looking forward for this year that I'm not particularly afraid of it.
So we're going Travis.
Yeah.
I like that,
Gross.
especially PPR, and that's a good flex there. Okay, so we are.
I swear to God, if anyone
They're awful
suggests
running backs.
CEH here,
I was gonna say no more running backs. Ooh,
It is PPR.
I'm eyeing Kyler pretty hard personally.
Yeah, same.
But we do have Chase. Do we want to force a stack?
I don't think it's a force at this point. I mean, you're looking at QB5 or QB6, and
Yeah, I
think
mean-
you take your pick. I mean, it depends on. I'm not too in on Kyler this year, to be honest.
Neither am I.
I mean,
I think he's
got
gonna be
that
good.
crybaby mentality. Yeah, he's a good player, but
I don't know if he's top 5.
I think,
probably would have.
I think they're
I
going to
do
keep
have
growing
Burrow
with
ahead of
Burrow,
him.
man.
Click back to the rankings so we can see the rest of the board.
Poor favorite.
I have Kyler in a tier beyond these guys just because of the rushing upside. I think the way I look at it, I understand the concerns and those are valid, but I look at ceiling on these, and I think Kyler's ceiling is clearly higher than the rest of the quarterbacks. For me, Kyler would be an option, but I wouldn't consider taking Burrow just because is Matt Stafford really that different than Joe Burrow?
Nope.
And I understand having that stack there, but I think it's almost I think the 5 quarterbacks at the very top would be a tier in my rankings, and then I'd be just play the waiting game because I just don't think that there's that much of a difference on these quarterbacks that aren't going to run. The Tom Brady's, the Burrows, the Staffords, they're all kind of the same.
You can get Derek Carr right now in like the 11th or 12th round in
I
these
was just gonna
drafts. I mean,
say.
like you can just wait forever on that.
Yeah,
I'm liking Kyler here if we're going quarterback.
I mean, if we're going to go quarterback, it's either Kyler or Burrow. Either way, I'm okay with it.
No CEH.
No, absolutely not.
I'm liking Kyler.
or Drake London. Do you roll the dice on Drake London coming in? I like Kyler. I think
No,
I
I would stamp a quarterback here. What is it, the 5th round? I would
No.
definitely.
You're in
or
the
a 6th
7th round, I think.
I think
Seventh.
Kyler's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think-
great
okay.
value for him.
And we missed on Rashad Bateman, and that makes me sad.
But it's okay. Here's our team. We're looking for, one more flex, and then I only have 4 bench spots here.
Well, just wait. The Chiefs running back you really want is still available. We can still wait a little bit. It'll be fine.
Isaiah Pacheco, where does he go?
Oh, did he?
He
Yeah.
still here, bro. Do
What are these wide receivers?
We got Kent Walker
well-
here. Penny is practicing this week.
Is this full PPR?
Yes.
I'd go
I
wide
think in
receiver.
honor of our navigator Yorick, I think we need to go with Christian Kirk here. Dude,
Shout out.
I'm not opposed to that.
I love Kirk
I am
in
not
full
a big
PPR.
fan.
I think
really
he's
like
going to
him.
pop this year. I really do. I think it's a
He's
good
extremely
situation.
about
for
it.
him. And
I
now
love
that we know that
Christian
Laviska Chenault's just going to be a freaking kick
Punt
returner.
returner.
Can you scroll? Are we all the way up on that? Oh, well, he just moved it. But he took Christian Kirk. Okay.
Yeah, but dude, that's guys to play. We're really going for this Jacksonville team here. And here's
And
the
now
ranking.
I think I take Aaron Lazard or Alan Lazard.
I
mean,
love
I don't
that,
know.
Jeff.
Ken Walker.
But
No.
Russell Gage.
No, I think
Yeah,
I'll
I
take-
think I might go Russell Gage over Allen
No.
Lazard.
Oh, no,
No
the ceiling is
way.
so
Actually,
much
yo,
higher.
it's
No
Sweetheart.
way.
I'd say Claypool over all of them. I'm just saying.
Nah, man.
I'm
The
okay,
ceiling.
Alan.
I think the. I mean, the ceiling for Lazard is Devontae Adams light, and I don't know.
Wide
it's
receiver
just-
1, like wide
Yeah.
receiver 1 tier.
I mean, I think so, but
I do
mean,
too.
with the balls bouncing off Christian Watson's hands in every single practice.
Oh no.
Let's go. And here we are. So we have 3 running backs.
Yeah, go. Yeah. Ronald Jones. Let's go, baby.
No, I mean, Justin Boone, when me and him and Kluge were talking, he did say Ronald Jones top 20 running back.
See, he
I
gets
could
it.
100%.
You know, we
see that.
took the Kirk pick. I feel like we do have to go with Ronald Jones here for it has Herm's spirit. We have Corey's spirit animal. We need Herm's spirit animal as well.
I mean,
There
goal
you
line
go.
back right there. He's playing.
I said it on this very show, however many weeks ago. I mean, come on. The logic is airtight.
I
don't
like
touch a backup
Tanyan.
tight end.
What about Komet?
I don't
we
touch
have-
it.
don't we
In
have
this tier,
Waller?
I don't touch it. Yeah, we have
Yeah,
Waller. I do
of
not
course
touch
we
a
have Waller.
backup
Yeah.
tight end in this type of build.
Yeah, no. I'll pick one up off of waivers. if that's
Garrett
the case.
Wilson?
I would definitely
would-
go another receiver. We're a little short-handed on that. Well, or a
Garrett-
running back.
Olave? With
I like
Michael,
Olave a lot.
with Michael Thomas injury.
Yeah, I'll take the. If I'm going to take a shot on a rookie, I think Olave is going to definitely pan out in that offense early on. if Jameis can get rid of that limp before training camp.
When's our
right
next pick though? Like, do you take Garrett Wilson here and you play the odds on the reach around that you can still get Chris Olave coming back?
Well, let's look at the rankings. We have
I
Claypool
don't-
at the top. We have Garrett Wilson ranked ahead of Olave.
I mean, within that
there's
tier, there's a decent enough chance that if it's not any of the names
could
that we
both
mentioned,
fall
there are
back to
good
this.
names that come around.
Simon Ingram can come around. Christian Watson, you just spoke on.
I mean, someone
Jahan
another rookie
Dotson?
could, someone's going to say another rookie or another prospect could probably fall. Like Sky Moore would probably fall back around as well.
Yeah, I mean,
See,
But you should.
you're in the 11th round, and I feel like I don't know. Maybe I have too much dynasty brain, but in the 11th round, I'm going to take the rookie because they turn around and they're the next Justin Jefferson. I mean, that's how you win your league. Versus, we kind of know what Russell Gage or Jacoby Myers is going to be.
Do we though?
I've
never seen Russell Gage with Tom Brady.
And plus, like, considering how late in the
Fair.
year Godwin had his injury occur,
Right,
and
he's
they
gonna
always
miss
talk about like the next 12 months, even when they come back, quote unquote, like that time frame of just inefficiency, like the door is so wide open for Gage to work opposite Mike Evans to do some pretty crazy stuff, man. Like, I'm
Okay,
trying
so
to
we
We've
have
never
so
seen
many
Garrett
in my
Wilson
redraft
with
team.
Zach Wilson either, so you don't know
Exactly.
We haven't
But
seen.
we have
Olave
seen
with
Zach Wilson.
Winston.
But we know Tom Brady's good.
Wilson.
We
So
do.
that's-
No.
That's
We know
also a
Tom
very
Brady's
good point.
good. Hashtag
Well,
good.
and so to play it the other way though, at quarterback, so we've taken Kyler, and we're a little bit nervous about Kyler, but I see Deshaun Watson is still available, and Trey Lance as well. And I don't know
I
if
would rather
it's
take
the
Derek
super
Carr.
flex brain in my mind
Trey
where
Lance.
I'm with you, Chef. I like Derek Carr here.
I just don't with having Kyler, like, I just
Rushing.
don't see the upside of having
I
Derek
know-
Carr because
I mean, if you could double down and go with one of the other
pick.
mobile guys,
What you want is a
that's where I
reliability
play. Like,
factor.
I'm
So this is my in when it comes to redraft, it's totally different than dynasty. If you're going upside swing on your
Trey Lance.
first guy, that's hands down that you're going to play your first guy unless he has a terrible matchup. You want to have a reliable second QB. Deshaun Watson may not be reliable. All right, you don't
Right.
know when he's coming in. All right, if he does come in, God forbid, because we all read the news. Now, Derek Carr has already been listed as a starter, is going to be the starter, matched up with Devontae Adams, has a higher ceiling than I think we all expect this season, and has a very good division to play in that he's going to have to compete and throw the ball a lot. So I like Derek Carr, especially later on. If we're in the 12th round, 12 out of 12, I bet you Derek Carr will still be there at the end. I think we take an upside or a shot at a wide receiver, a young wide receiver if we want to. I know we all can't decide which one we want, but I think that, and then we smash Derek Carr at the end to seal the deal.
I will say though, if we were to go quarterback, I would just like to throw out there for people that play redraft. I'm sure we have these memories of second-year quarterbacks that can scoot a little bit, finding a way to vastly outperform their ADP. I mean, this is a tried and true strategy I've used for several years in a row. That's how I ended up with Lamar Jackson on a team that ended up winning a title. It's how I ended up with Jalen Hurts on a lot of teams. It's how I ended up with Trey Lance fits that archetype to a T. So I mean, just tossing that into the universe, just something.
Herms, I play it the exact same way as you, and if I'm gonna have, usually I'm not even gonna roster a backup quarterback, but if I am, I'm only gonna roster a guy like Trey Lance or a guy like Justin Fields that I know if they hit, they're going to be a clear top half of quarterback one. And guys like Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins in redraft in one quarterback leagues that don't have super deep benches, that just don't find my roster. I just don't think that I think you can find a guy that goes undrafted. You Gardner Minshew that 1 year or Ryan Tannehill that 1 year. You can find those guys undrafted in most standard size redraft leagues. If I'm going to use a roster spot on a quarterback for a backup quarterback, it's going to be a guy that can be a top half number one if he hits.
You go with the vet, and you go with the young
trade
guy.
him all the way. You trade him halfway through. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, you trade him and you snatch that other guy because that's the other thing that usually, especially the depth in quarterback right now, there are so many. The league has never been in this position, especially fantasy football, and having depth at the quarterback position, you're going to have guys undrafted that flirt with finishing quarterback 1 in that range of 12 to 15. I think in most leagues you'll see that. Just be a guy like Tua or a guy like that could easily end up in that range.
Or Kenny Pickett.
Trevor
Come on,
Lawrence.
Chris Olave. Screw it. That's my choice.
I like Chris Olave too.
Same. That was a long conversation to get back to who we originally decided on.
Well,
like
I mean, we
yeah,
were
I'm
going
here
to sit
for
there and
it.
argue, and I'm listening to Jeff, and he's like, yeah, well, it's a 12th round. I'm not going to waste a quarterback. It makes
Gage.
perfect sense.
Yes, it does.
It's going to be, someone's going to be sitting there, and he's absolutely right. And to go through a season with Trey Lance and Kyler Murray on your roster, if Trey Lance actually does hit, you're going to be like,
well,
damn,
crap.
which one do I pick?
Right.
Or which one do I play each week? Or you're going to be like, all right, I'm going to trade him away and then get somebody else. Well, I mean, I don't know. Not in the 12th round.
It is hard to trade quarterbacks in one quarterback leagues. I do think that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to return real value on those quarterbacks. And that's a fair and valid point.
Rachaad White
and Corey. I'm eyeing Rachaad White there because
Me too.
I think you need to look at what point
Are
you
we
draft.
really looking at Deshaun Watson? Sorry, Jeff. Are we really looking at Deshaun Watson in the 12th round and he's not being picked up? Really?
I get it.
No, we don't know if he's going to play. He may not. He may be suspended the entire season. So
you find out well before the season, and you can use that roster spot, your very last roster spot, on a handcuff running back or something else. A guy gets hurt. That's where I think, you take Watson and you hope that. I don't know.
I mean, if I were going to take a starting quarterback, I would take Watson. And then
you play it out and you see.
All of a sudden, his suspension is no mas, and you're like, oh, well, now I really have choices.
But it's just one quarterback.
Right.
But the trade value of Deshaun Watson at full health compared to Trey Lance coming in, whether or not he is going to hit. I mean, we're all under the assumption that Deshaun Watson is a top-tier elite quarterback when on the field playing. Are we all in agreeing with that?
Yeah.
Probably.
All right. So there are still question marks about Trey Lance. Not saying that he's not a good quarterback. Not saying that he's not going to do the deed. But the simple fact that Deshaun Watson's still there and we have Kyler Murray, I'd be willing, if I was going to take a shot on a quarterback late, because we have Kyler Murray to sit on and play all through until if and when Watson doesn't play, then we could drop Watson if need be and pick up somebody else. Plus, I would rather drop Watson than I don't know. I'm losing my track.
And we do see over the last couple of years the Cardinals start off super hot, and then the entire team, including Kyler Murray himself, kind of cools off. Whether it's because he gets hurt or just because something. Honestly, it wouldn't stun me if Cliff Kingsbury doesn't really survive having this job for much longer. But that's a whole different other tangent. But
you also have to remember
line up really well.
You also have to remember Kyler Murray's not going to have DeAndre Hopkins, which was his go-to guy last season and the year before that.
Now.
I think Hollywood Brown's going to be
great.
okay.
But Marquise Brown is going to be great. I don't have a problem with that. But we saw how Marquise Brown cannot be a wide receiver 1. We saw that in Baltimore. If you think that it's going
career
to
in
change,
Baltimore as the base,
okay as a wide receiver.
Yeah,
I mean, he had
that's
145 targets. That's kind of
a lot of targets.
Yeah, I think,
and he's got Zach Ertz in the red zone.
Yep,
target.
Exactly.
He's going to get Zach. You're going to get Marquise Brown 145 targets on the Cardinals this year.
Probably.
That's what he had with Baltimore last year, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, it was 145. Essentially, the difference between how many times they threw the ball in 2020 and how many times they threw the ball in 2021.
And he finished as wide receiver 22.
Yeah, but that's the Baltimore offense, though. The type of system he thrived in college is what he's walking into now. Like it's a very
fair,
different system, different quarterback, different coach, totally different offense. I think I'm pretty high on him.
It's taking every fiber within my being to keep him outside of my top 12. I mean, I really, 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 really like Hollywood.
I am kind of in a similar place. My concern is that, Chef's on the right track there. He had 145 targets last year, and that's wide receiver 1 territory, but he didn't return the value in it. And yes, he is going to a different system and seeing slightly different usage, but he's going to have to increase his efficiency in order to really finish as that wide receiver 1, because what is the limit on upward in terms of volume? And as much as, that Cardinals run that run and shoot offense, but they're not really a fast-paced team. They didn't have Baltimore threw more passes last year than Arizona did, and that's I think something that people get lost on, that people don't really realize. And so I don't know that there's an upward limit on that, and he is going to get Hopkins back at some point, and also that I think they really relied on Zach Ertz in the red zone when he arrived last year. He really took over that red zone role. He led the team in targets in the red zone after he arrived. So I think there are fair and valid points long-term. Hollywood could be a guy, though, that spikes out of the gate and you get like 2 or 3 hot weeks and that is returning quarterback 1 or wide receiver 1 value, and then you can flip him.
Yeah, he's a pick and flip for me. I don't think he hits that 146 target mark. I just don't see it happening. And like Jeff said, his catch percentage, it needs to come up. Like you're looking at what he had 100 targets in his sophomore year in the league in 2020 and 146 targets last season. He had a 58% catch percentage and a 62.3% catch percentage. And that's not good. And he's only had 21 touchdowns in his total in a career.
I mean, that's over 3 seasons. That's an average of 7 touchdowns a season. That's not bad.
Okay, but yeah, you have to remember he.
But that's also not going to be a wide receiver 1.
All right, so he had
get him in the red
91
zone.
receptions on 146 targets last year.
That's not his fault, though.
I don't care whose fault it was. It's his fault for not catching the ball.
What?
But he's not the type of body that's going to be consistently used in the red zone.
He had the
59th probably
most catchable target rate. That's pretty bad. That's the
number 59 out of 59. Out of how many wide receivers there are?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
his catch rate wasn't fantastic though either. His true catch rate, number 45.
Because he had the 59th best catchable
The
target rate.
true catch rate, Corey. It says true in the name.
Cool.
True
I'm talking about
catch
this
rate.
one right here.
catchable.
I don't know.
Corey
target
don't
rate.
care.
True catch, but I'm saying that true.
How does that?
Whenever
how does that
if I see
measure?
true,
Catchable target rate.
Percent of targets that were catchable.
Well, there you go.
According to who?
I'm
Like, did they
muting
touch his
this
hands?
conversation? Mute.
Did they go over his head?
I mean, probably they
Did he have
chart their
sweaty
stuff.
palms? Like,
They chart their stuff.
Sweaty
man.
bombs.
It probably is what happens when you have 3 quarterbacks throwing you a ball.
3 quarterbacks throwing 1 ball. How does that work? That seems complicated.
That's the problem.
So
When
let's
you-
There we go. We figured it out.
Let's look up DeAndre
We need
Hopkins.
less quarterbacks in Baltimore.
Let's look up DeAndre Hopkins' catchable target rate and compare. And then if it all goes to hell for me, I'll mute for the rest of the show.
Well, you should probably look up Kirk's, right? Hopkins played like 10.
No. Hopkins isn't going to be on the field, so
He was
catchable
12.
target rate number
You-
12.
Sucker. Mute
Night
yourself.
and day.
See
True
ya.
catch rate 67.
He was a wide receiver 1 in true catch.
He did not play good football last year. And that's, I don't know. I've taken some heat for my DeAndre Hopkins takes on Twitter, but he's obviously you're missing 7 weeks of the regular season for him. And he did not play good football last year.
Nope.
No.
That he did not.
And Kirk's was 4 because Kyler Murray is good.
Yep.
That's the difference between a.
He's a
Ravens
far more
offense-
accurate passer
Thank you.
than
Yeah.
Lamar
So
Jackson.
catchable targets is not necessarily the receiver's fault.
Right.
Or not having a high catch percentage is not the receiver's fault.
That's
Unless
my
he
only
hits a
argument. My only argument for Chase Claypool to be relevant this year is if that increases with Big Ben gone.
But I think if you're looking at strategy at this point in the draft, I would take Watson at this point in the draft, knowing that it's your last round of the draft. And so you've got a very shallow bench. So you're going to have productive players that are available on waivers if you have this type of bench, this type of setup. So that's where I take Watson. And if you get that suspension comes down and it's going to be a season or 10 games, you're cutting him in July before anybody gets hurt or anything like that and creates those opportunities. You're cutting him in July, you're moving on and you're grabbing the next hot running back that's available versus drafting him, just because if that suspension comes back at 2 or 3 games, his value spikes immediately.
I'm with Jeff here. You've sold me.
Right, but also we should probably think it's not I just had 12 rounds, but what is a normal redraft league? 15, 16?
I think that usually in your redraft league, if you have like 4 to 6 bench spots, is usually about where you end up in standard size redraft leagues.
Yeah.
So then, okay, Watson, it is.
Hey,
who likes us? How do we see who likes us?
Projected standings. Go to that. It'll pull up the page, and then it'll take you somewhere that'll tell you that.
Oh, I don't have premium.
Well, you should have just gotten my login. Damn, it would have been.
Hey, what's your password and ID? Oh, here we go. It says it right there. Derek, shout out to D-Bro and Andrew. They like us a lot.
There you go. Not bad.
Interesting.
Not too shabby. So pretty much take the receivers and running backs as they fall.
I can get down with it.
And I don't know. My redraft strategy, I skewed younger, probably because I'm a dynasty guy, but at the same time, I just think that's where you get the value. That's where you get the mispriced guys that are priced more conservatively than the playing with the veterans and worrying about an age cliff.
Yeah, because like one of the things that we often see as a common refrain from people. Hey, there you go. Shout out, special message for you, Corey. But like one of the common refrains that we see from people is just like, oh well, I want to see them do it first. Oh, we haven't seen them do it at the NFL. I'm like what did you think that like yes, it's an adjustment going from college to professional, but like some of these guys that are picked super high, they're not just drafted there because it's not just some fun thing an NFL team,
right? Like I know your dad, so I'm going to take you with the 4th pick.
Yeah, like the only time you find yourself in a situation is if you're like Mike Piazza being picked,
that's exactly
the 30th round. Yeah, something like that. But like these, like especially when it comes to like, there's a segment of the fantasy population that kind of psychs themselves out over like. I've noticed specifically like rookie running backs are just like, people are starting to heat up on this, and I don't know, maybe. In some cases, like a la Clyde Edwards-Helaire, however many years ago, like maybe we probably should have thought about that more. But like for the most part, like if you're taken with high enough capital, it doesn't matter if we've never seen it before, because it's like rookie running back coming in right away, doing the thing. Like, what do you need to see? It's pretty evident unless they get hurt, this is gonna work. Like, well, I don't know.
There's a segment of the fantasy football community that's just bad at fantasy football. It's, I mean, part of it.
That's what it boils down to.
But I do want to make a point on rookie wide receivers though, because these guys are. I don't know. For so many years, high school football was basically you put your best athlete at running back. You have some guys out wide that are just there to run a distraction, and occasionally you'll bomb a pass their direction. But that's it. Now in high school football, you've got 8th grade, 7th graders that are running complex route trees, that are running full route trees, that are getting peppered with balls throughout their entire high school career. And then they're rolling 3 years of that into college as well. So by the time they get to the NFL, they've seen the cornerbacks that are going to be covering them, and especially like an SEC school or even a Big Ten, they've already seen the level of cornerback coverage that they're going to get. They've already ran the route trees that they're going to run and played in complex systems that are going. And that's why you see these guys immediately, like Justin Jefferson, you saw him immediately, even Jamar Chase immediately. They were running the same stuff at LSU that now Joe Brady took into the NFL, that Joe Brady took from the NFL. And so there's no real learning gap because they went against NFL corners playing in the SEC. They're running NFL routes. And that's where traditionally you just have to throw that out. It doesn't matter anymore. But in 2005, what a rookie wide receiver did has zero relevance to 2022 because the game has just changed so much.
100. I don't know why people don't think about that. This isn't the NFL of even 5 years ago. Different players, different systems. We've got college coaches coming in, changing the way that they're running offenses. Kingsbury's made the run and shoot popular. Like, it's a whole different world. And you're right, Jeff. These kids are learning things earlier. They're more prepared to come into the NFL than they were 10 years ago. Plain
That's
and
why you
simple.
got to listen to the Debbie Royale. Heck of a podcast. Just saying,
That is very
throwing it out
true.
there. I don't know. Just an idea. Hey.
9 p.m. tonight.
Ooh,
replay.
it is.
We've already done it. We did it the show on
Oh,
on
good
Saturday
job.
night.
Good job, Jeff. Well, that was cool.
Well, now I know why they don't respond to my comments, so at least there's that.
Oh.
We don't do comments on our show. It's just I don't know. We have made some creative choices with our show, and one of them's not really too much responding to comments, just because we want it to be able to be played back on as like a podcast. So
Oh, that makes sense.
that kind of,
I
and we
appreciate
haven't done
that.
guests, and we value our family so much, like the fantasy community so much, but we've just never done guests. And just to have that, I don't know, when we're on a show together, we build chemistry, and especially you do it weekly, and you know your rhythms, and you know all that, and then when you have guests on it, it makes that difficult.
Yep, that's very true.
What was the comments about?
About
I
how
was
we don't
making-
reply to comments.
I was making a joke.
I don't
think I've ever actually. Oh yeah, I said hi once.
We flash them up on the screen on the YouTube, but we don't really vocally reply to too many.
That's why I try to get them. Like, when's the IDP show? I don't know.
Someday.
Brad, Sunday.
IDP show for Debbie Royale. We did one already, and I think we're going to do a 2023 IDP show here coming up at some point this summer.
Oh,
Okay.
fun.
Well, that's cool. Do you think we could get on it?
What? No,
No.
we don't do guests. Sorry,